What's up guys, it's Drac and this is the Nerf Elite INFINUS. Now this is the Elite Blaster that I'm most excited about coming out of the new lineup. It is, in my mind, cooler than the Delta Trooper because the Delta Trooper was pretty much a letdown. And I know, people are like, Drac doesn't like it if it's not an Alpha Trooper. It's not that, it's just an ergonomically poor Springer. Bite me. This, on the other hand, is a completely unique blaster with a very familiar feel. So, this is a full auto flywheel blaster. There's nothing wrong with that. That's very cool, which immediately puts it in the arena with things like the Hyperfire and the Rapid Strike. Now, it's got a mechanical pusher, which is pretty awesome. So that means that it should be able to torque out just like a Rapid Strike, but it's got this really great gimmick. Now, unfortunately, despite what I thought I saw in our initial press release months and months and months and months ago, this is going to be retailing for $70 United States on the shelf, which means you're gonna pay for that gimmick. But it's a good gimmick. Like, it is pretty cool. So one of the issues and the reasons that I'm constantly like singing the praises of blasters that can be front loaded, either by virtue of their turret or by virtue of like a top loading device, is because you can reload off the ground. And that's big game in a Nerf war. Nobody wants to waste a ton of time reloading off exclusively magazines or sit there loading magazines only to come up short and die while you're reloading those. So a lot of instructions on this, but let's take a look at the box. So the box is advertising this is a 30 dart drum. 30 dart drum is unique, guys. We've had 35 dart drums in the form of the Raider, and then everything else has been either 18, very rare drum, 18 for the original Alpha Trooper, or 25. 25 was very popular with the Rampage and was used in a lot of other things. So the big gimmick is this motorized speed load technology charge, and that's the aperture. Now I talked about this at Toy Fair, and let's get right into it. So instructions. Drum. Now the drum is kind of cool. The drum is not necessarily like smart. You'd think that the drum would be proprietary and play into this technology, but it really doesn't. I tested at Epic Nerf Battle as well before Zach King stole my Infinus. I tested to see if it would load up my Worker magazines, and it would load up everything from knockoff magazines like Worker to genuine Nerf regular stick magazines and what have you. But how that works is through this little loading door here sucks darts in and takes them and loads them into the top of the magazine. In fact, that's wild, guys. My Infinus has a dart jammed in it already. Are you guys gonna be able to see this? Check it out. No funny business, no nonsense. Now this was sent to me directly from Hasbro, but in theory, it should be completely mint. 30 darts new in package, drum new in package, Infinus completely sealed, and yet there's a dart stuck in already. Now sometimes that just happens with first production run stuff, and of course I do get a lot of my blasters from Hasbro from the first production run, but this tells me that somebody at the factory didn't finish their job right before they go in the box. They get shot into a bin, like right on the assembly line, and somebody just didn't finish. You had one shot and you wasted it. No, but that's just funny to me. Ergonomically, I want to talk about it before I take it outside. It does take 4D batteries, which go somewhere. Where do they go? They go back here in the stock, and that's good because right now it's super front heavy because of all this mechanism up front. Now this, I think, is fully functional. Squeezing it, you can kind of feel something inside. Clearly an important part of this super slick loading mechanism, and don't get me wrong, like I'm a fan of a good gimmick. I've always been a fan of a good gimmick, but I really like the gimmick in this. So what it does is it comes in, pushes everything down, slips that dart into the top of your magazine, and lets you keep firing. So that's pretty cool. I've often thought of buying 4 of these, chopping them all down into nothing, mounting them to a 2x4, and just having kids load darts into the apertures to fill my magazines at the SC&C. If I just popped all 4 of my Worker 22s, it realistically doesn't save a lot of time, but it's super sci-fi and super cool to have an automatic loading station. Paint the whole thing Fanger red, call it good. Anyway, we can talk about it from here until Kingdom Come. The angle foregrip actually feels pretty good. The shoulder stock is nice. The top rail has multiple different attachment points, and even though it doesn't have an elite attachment point or an in-strike attachment point for stocks, it does have an in-strike attachment point for barrels, which is nice. that is not forgotten entirely in this world of brand new blasters. But can't wait to get that weight evened out with some batteries, and we'll take it outside and talk more about its features there. After all, it is a Drac review, so we got to get some POV in there. Let's go. But first, let's clear our jam. Alrighty guys, so this is it. This is the Infinus. It is Infinus. It is all. I love this logo. It's obviously a tilted infinity logo. I just think that that's really cool. This is the kind of touch that Nerf used to put on all their flagship blasters. It's been missing pretty frequently. Like obviously the deco here is not on one side, which is a shame, but this side actually looks really hot. Infinus logo, Nerf logo in white, Infinus logo completely custom. The Elite coming through this transparency here is just oh so sweet. Like really like this. So I want to talk about a few things about this blaster just because I think it's cool. First off, let's throw a worker 22 in, and you can hear now that these batteries are in, not only is the weight really good, like it's further tilted to the back, but also just listen to this. That's it engaging. I don't know if it's like smart enough to measure what's going on, but you can see this thrower arm up there in the top window. And what's going to happen is that now, if we look at this LED, it is good to go. So these are just some old Elite darts from the SC&C bin. And as soon as we tap that lip right there, it starts a flywheel up top, which pulls it forward, and you can see that dart has been chambered and is ready to go. Now, what it does when that closes is it's locking the arm in such a way that it's ready to load. So here we go. There's another one, and I just want to show you guys the loading feature. I have yet to be able to like overpower the loading feature in its stock form. So like here's 1, 2, and it just loaded that second one right afterwards. It kind of waited, but that is good to go. So those all loaded up very nicely, and I think that that's pretty cool. We'll do a live demo in a second, but up here we've got built-in iron sights. There's like a break in this rail, and I really like that. I've already mentioned that the in-strike attachment is pretty cool. It actually does not look bad with the worker 22. I think it looks hot. And now let's fire it. So you can hear those are the flywheels revving up. I do not know the geometry of this cage yet because I can't take this one apart quite yet, but it's not hyper fire rate of fire, but that is not its gimmick, right? This is not designed to be the highest ROF blaster in the Elite line ever. It is designed to be able to stagger single fire shots with Elite level performance. That's good performance, guys. Some of those shots are variable, but it is Elite darts, so what can you do? Oh, and there's nothing inside. So unfortunately, the blaster is a little smart. It switches to like semi-auto style firing when it's empty, just because it knows that there's nothing else to fire. When I say that, I just mean that each trigger pull only actuates the pusher once, but it's definitely designed to be mated to this drum, and this drum does a really good job of interacting with that smart loading system. So let's go ahead and full auto on Steven just a little bit. Sorry, Steven. So Steven, being a zombie strike target, he doesn't mind that much. And you can see with this clear window in the back that we are being topped off. Doesn't seem to mind knockoff darts. Just loaded a Koosh A-OK. There goes another one, and you can see right now that black is right there on the back, and as soon as we load this up through, we click one more through because it is taking these and instantly reloading this drum. It's just really cool. Thought this would be very gimmicky. Wound up really digging it at Toy Fair. Thrilled to have it in my workshop. Now, as for the modification potential of this, no idea, but the fact that it just seems to be so consistent, and for such a delicate and weird mechanism, you'd think it wouldn't be that good, but doesn't seem to care what I'm throwing in it. This is a variety of darts, some of which have been in the yard for a long time. Now, what happens if you're revving and you try and load? This is something that I've been very curious about, but did not want to break any Toy Fair models. Let's find a couple of darts. Now, it's obvious that you should not be able to load and fire all at the same time, but if we're revving, it'll still load while you're revving. So what happens if we're firing and we try and load while we're firing? Let's see. So this is a yellow dart. It stops your firing sequence to load the dart, puts it on top, and then launches it. Guys, this thing is cool. Like, once we get it up to End War style HVZ specs, get that FPS bump, get that cage in there, like, this is gonna be awesome. Very one-hand wieldable for adults, like not that heavy because of the batteries being in the stock like that. Handle is comfortable. All of your controls are relatively easy to access. I like that this doesn't have a handguard just because of how tiny that mag release is, and this will be replaced very quickly. I'm sure this is something the aftermarket's gonna be all about. Now, I mean, you can go full peasant mode and just reload your drum, but like, why would you ever do that when you have the super cool aperture to do so for you? But I actually think that this is a really, really cool blaster. It is more expensive than I originally thought it would be. I do think that it's worth it. I don't know, I love it. I love the logo. I love a lot of the design choices. I'm actually a pretty big fan of this AFG. It's a little oversized, but it is very comfortable, and clearly it's mechanically necessary in some way. Like, I don't know what this looks like inside, but I feel like that's important. Now, overall, just a very solid blaster, a very cool primary class blaster. Does it have a gimmick? Yes. Is that gimmick really, really cool? I think so. Let me know in the comment section below, like, do you think the Infinus is worth the money? Do you think that it's a cool new mechanism? I just love watching industry leaders innovate, and that's exactly what this mechanism is. So, thank you guys very much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. Really looking forward to your feedback in the comments section down below. And as always, much love. Nerf on. Drac out.